Hello everyone. I'm delighted today to be here with Kamlesh Patel, the author of Designing Destiny, who is a hard man to describe because of his multifaceted talents and accomplishments. You could call him in the modern context a true Renaissance man, a self-realized man whose accomplishments bridge the spiritual, the scientific, the creative, and the material spheres. He was a businessman for over 30 years in the US, in New York City, and built a successful chain of pharmacies. But more importantly, his focus has been on the evolution of consciousness through spiritual growth. Since December 2014, he has been the guide of Heartfulness, but it's a difficult title for him in a way because he is a reluctant guru. In the sense that he shuns being worshipped, he shuns being put on a pedestal, preferring silence and anonymity. So in that sense, even this interview is a challenge. Many gurus like to attract attention, whereas he avoids it as much as possible. In this regard, we see an example of a true guru who prefers to work in silence and does not charge for his services. Often people think that they will receive darshan from their guru by pressing their feet or washing their feet. But in this case, in the tradition of Lord Jesus Christ, who washed his own disciples' feet, we see somebody who is here interested in serving humanity. And in fact, in heartfulness, even that physical contact is not necessary, because the contact with the guru is heart to heart. So Kamlesh.
Hello.
Many people here in the audience would like to know how it is possible, by sitting, closing your eyes for just a few minutes every day, a person can change their destiny.
Well, close your eyes even for a few minutes and see what really happens, whether you actively meditate or not. When in trouble, when you're angry, when you have a problem, when you are looking for some dire solution to existing quarrels that you may have had with someone, or troubling teenagers. Close your eyes for a few minutes and see what sort of guidance emanates from your heart. It will properly guide you, especially what to avoid. So minimum we can expect by closing the eyes is what not to do. And later on, as we focus more and we have two choices, heart would always go for one that is better than the other. So all the time we get guidance from within of what not to do and especially what to do that will be better for us. This is at a material level. At a spiritual level, as we advance, our consciousness keeps shifting from grosser to subtle to divine. So it's a matter of experience again. Do it and feel it and see it by yourself how closing eyes just for a few minutes can revolutionize our lives.
So Kamlesh, the next question. You started meditating in this system in 1976, over 40 years ago. What has been the effect of that practice on your life?
Well, it brings about tremendous clarity in life. And of course, life becomes more enjoyable. You see the clear difference between pleasures, joys, and bliss. One is able to differentiate, though we all understand these words. We are all familiar with pleasures. Joys, we sometimes misunderstand it and mix it up with pleasures. What about bliss? Have you ever experienced bliss? Meditation makes it possible to experience bliss. And if you're fortunate, you can even transcend bliss and go to those sources where from the bliss emanates. So there are infinite possibilities when we meditate, depending upon what your goal is. If your goal is to have peace of mind, meditation will provide it. If your goal is to reduce the heart rate, meditation will provide it. If your goal is to have good health, meditation will guide you how to achieve that good health. Of course, we are not making our health professionals redundant. I'm a pharmacist myself. Meditation does play a role to a certain extent, but you cannot replace medications. But both sound similar, meditation and medication. Meditation heals us from within. So I have seen during all these years of practice that you become more contented and fulfilled. What else do we need in life?
So many people meditate today without experiencing these profound states of consciousness that you just mentioned. You talked about bliss and going beyond bliss even. Why is that so easily possible in Heartfulness?
Well, it's because of this yogic transmission we call pranahuti. Pranahuti differentiates the system from the rest of the pack. It is because of this pranahuti that you are transported to a different level of consciousness instantly. You don't have to wait for next life. You don't have to wait for 10 years or even 10 days. You sit now, close your eyes and see if it can immediately shift your consciousness and make you feel better. You need to find a trainer who can transmit to you. And we have thousands of trainers worldwide. Just log into WhatsApp and see. Request for a transmission. Sit for about 20 minutes or half an hour. You'll be able to see the shift in consciousness instantly. I guarantee it.
So can you share with us your first experience of transmission?
My first experience of transmission has been quite unique in the sense it never repeated again. So in that very first sitting, when my trainer said, please start meditation. So I closed my eyes, focused on the presence of divine light in my heart, and there you go. I was almost levitating, transported to a different realm altogether. I had no consciousness of my own. It was like Bimmy Scotty in Star Trek. I was completely zapped, gone. Only when lady, my trainer, she said, that's all. Even then I could not open my eyes. She had to tap my knees and say, now it's over. It had passed more than 30 minutes. This experience was phenomenal. People who crave for samadhi-like states, having out-of-body experiences, or to enter into a different zone or a different dimension. This is the way. And it happens because of this pranahuti or transmission. It's quite unique to this system. I urge you all to experience it.
So let's now go from the sublime to the ridiculous. You've spoken about very high spiritual states. But how has meditation affected your life as a pharmacist, as a businessman, and also as a family man?
Well, all these three things you have spoken, the pharmacist, the businessman, and a family man. All these three things are full of struggles. Pharmacists especially so. Haven't you gone to a pharmacy and you argue with the pharmacist, how is it my drug is not in the formulary? Call the insurance company. You guys are fooling around with us. People blame pharmacists. It's unfortunate. Pharmacists follow the rules and regulations based or grafted by insurance companies, DEAs, the State Department, and whatnot. So I had quite a struggle, but because of this meditation, I was able to keep cool. I could be on the phone counting the pills, could be on the phone with the doctors, putting the insurance company on the hold, and you're a multitasker. As a businessman, similar problems. Employees are not here, employees are on vacation, who is going to do the floor, who is going to watch the pharmacy, things like that, many things, what to order, how many things were misordered or extra ordered. Life is full of struggle for a businessman too. But having meditated and attained some level of poise and calmness, I could tackle that. I do remember buying a pharmacy in Manhattan from a very nice gentleman. He was then 85-year-old. His wife was equally great. She was helping him in his business. I asked him, "Sir, what are you going to do now that you have sold the pharmacy to me?" He said, "First thing I'm going to do is take a vacation." I said, "When did you take a vacation last?" He said, "Never." In his 85 years of practicing as a pharmacist, he never took a vacation. My heart cried out for him. But he must have felt such a need to be present in the pharmacy all the time. But in my scenario, I was able to trust my employees. I was able to trust my partners and move on. This trust, relationship builds up because of your nature. This nature that you build up because of meditation. And as a family man, nothing comes easy. But again, because of this meditation, when your spouse also meditates, children also meditate, you are somehow resonating, as they say, vibrating on the same frequency or similar frequency. Life becomes easier when we understand each other so well from same frequency. That doesn't mean that meditation brings about total solace, because differences are going to be there. Someone wants to go to Miami and another fellow wants to go to Niagara Falls. So such arguments will be there, but it's a joy. Such differences brings about joy, and we cherish them. Meditation helps us to know our limits, where to fight and where not to fight. Even in fighting, one can make it such an enjoyable act. Haven't you fought with your spouse with pillows? So make it like that. Our struggles, our quarrels, let them be pillow fights, not the rock fights and hurt each other. I think meditation is the only way how we can help each other, enrich each other's lives. Not just family, but within the community as well. That's all. Okay.
So one of the interesting things about you as a businessman is that quite early on, from the 80s onwards, you had already taken a business model to trust and enable your employees, so you could expand the business and so that you could travel to India to be with your own guru. And that's quite an unusual thing that only now in the business world is being seen as valuable, as an enablement model of leadership. How did you come by this? Was it just something that was innate to your nature, or did it spring out of some different understanding?
Because I was meditating, and I used to always attend many seminars or workshops on meditations. Sometimes it would take me 2 months of outing from the business. I would leave the stores on key employees and partners, and they would run it better than I would. So that gave me a lot of confidence that I can move away from this location as many times, as often as possible. Training is the main crux. When you trust a person and train them to do what you are doing, it gives them a lot of confidence, and a bond is built between two. Whenever we have a pharmacy intern working in a drugstore, I would not just teach them how to count pills. Any child can count marbles. But the business aspect of pharmacy. And they would remain with our association for longer than one can imagine. I would say I have still people who joined me in 1984, they are still with us. No one has actually quitted Just like that on a mundane reasons. It is mainly because, as I say, trust. You trust and work happens. When the trust is broken, the relationship goes for toss. That happens in any field. Of course, trust will be broken now and then, but you should be able to take the risk of losing how much. If you can put up with that losing how much, then you can run a business very free. Otherwise, you'll be like that gentleman who ran a business till he was 85 and never took a vacation. He could not trust his very own. Either you work hard or you trust. And trust with enablement brings a lot of joy because you have taught someone how to do a business. If at all an employee left me, it was only to start a new business.
And last one, sir. How would you propose to our audience to make the most of heartfulness so that they too can change their destiny, design their own destiny?
Who can design your destiny? God? Prophets? Messiahs? No one. You have to design your own destiny. If God could do it, He would have put us in palaces. If prophets could have done it, they could have done it long back during their lifetime. So the onus of success or failure is always upon us, making right choices. Meditate over it. When you have 10 things to choose from, meditate over each choice and see which one is most efficient for you. Even going to a restaurant, this restaurant or that restaurant, just a glance, just a thought over which place to visit, meditate for a few minutes, and then you'll get the answer. Repeating this exercise again and again will make you a champion. As we develop more and more confidence in meditating and coming to our own conclusions, we become stronger in this process. So, first, let us start meditation and then see what happens. Meditation is very exciting, actually. Don't think it is for people who are weak or who are sick or who are depressed or who has anxiety disorder or needs treatment. No. If you are well and if you are meditating, why would the trouble come to you? It is too late when the trouble comes and you start meditating. It is like, meditation to me is like vaccination. It prevents diseases from coming. What sort of diseases though? The modern day problem, loneliness, anxiety, depression, frustration. It's not that they were not there before. They were there then too, but they were easy to handle. These days it's very difficult. Many elements are there in this interactions with other human beings and circumstances. But I have said again and again that meditation is the key. It masters. It helps us master our mind. Let me put it very briefly. When can you be happy? When you are restless and walking around with speed, with aggression. Can you be happy with such a restless state? So, what is required? Peacefulness within. Happiness demands that you are at peace. If you are not at peace, happiness will elude us. So, in order to arrive at peace, you'll have to have a contemplative mind and harmony within. And how can you arrive at contemplative mind unless you have a focused mind? And how can you arrive at focused mind? By training the mind through meditation. Now you can join the dots.
Thanks everybody. Thank you, Kamlesh.
Thank you.
Audience.
Thank you.
See you soon.